3% of for sale listings in Dallas right now are becoming rentals. Not because the owners planned it that way, because they couldn't sell. Maybe that's you. You relocated for work, you inherited a house, you listed it, sat through months of showings, and finally decided, fine, I'll rent it out, at least for now. Welcome to being an accidental landlord. And if that's your situation, this video is specifically for you, because the mistakes you make in the first 30 days can follow you for years. A bad lease, the wrong insurance, one inspection you skip, these things cost real money, sometimes thousands of dollars. I'm Michael with Darling Property Management. We help DFW property owners run their rentals without the headaches. And today I'm walking you through exactly what to do in your first 30 days as an accidental Texas landlord. No fluff, just the steps. Let's get into it. According to Zillow, accidental landlords are at a 3-year high right now. Nationally, 2% of homes listed for rent were recently listed for sale. In Dallas specifically, that number is higher at 3%. So if you feel like you stumbled into this, you've got company. But here's what you need to understand. Texas landlord law doesn't care why you own the property. The rules still apply the same whether you're a seasoned investor with 20 doors or someone who just couldn't find a buyer. The obligations are still the same. So here are the 5 most expensive mistakes accidental landlords make. And then I'll give you the 30-day plan to avoid all of them. This one stings because most people don't find out until they have a claim. If you have a standard homeowner's policy and you start renting out the property, that policy will not cover you as a landlord. Insurance companies treat renting your home as a fundamentally different risk, and they're right. You need to switch to a dwelling policy, designed specifically for rental properties. It covers property damage and liability. You cannot add landlord coverage on top of your existing homeowner's policy. That option doesn't exist. Texas doesn't legally require landlord insurance, but if you have a mortgage on the property, your lender almost certainly does. And even if you own it free and clear, one lawsuit from an injured tenant without proper liability coverage could cost you everything you've built. Make the switch before your first tenant signs a lease. A generic lease from the internet is not a Texas lease, and a Texas lease from a few years ago might be missing things that matter now. 2 things changed in 2025 that every new Texas landlord needs to know about. Senate Bill 38, which became effective January 1 of 2026, updated how evictions work in Texas. It streamlined the process in justice courts. If your lease references outdated notice language, that can create problems if you ever have to file. House Bill 2037 also passed in 2025. It allows email notices between landlords and tenants as long as you've previously communicated by email. Simple, but worth knowing and worth documenting. Beyond that, Texas requires specific disclosures in every lease. If the property was built before 1978, you need a lead-based paint disclosure and the EPA pamphlet. If the property is in a 100-year floodplain or has flooded in the past 5 years, you have to disclose that in writing. Your name, address, and an emergency contact number have to appear in the lease document itself. Use a current Texas lease, either the Texas Realtors TXR 2001 standard form or one drafted by an attorney. Do not use a template you found on Google. Security deposits trip up a lot of new landlords in Texas. Here's the framework for you. If there was already a tenant in place when you took over the property, their deposit transferred to you automatically under the Texas Property Code. You're responsible for it now, and you need to send the tenant written notice confirming you have it. Going forward, Texas law requires you to return the deposit within 30 days of the tenant vacating, with an itemized list of any deductions. If you miss that 30-day window, you can lose the right to make any deductions at all. If a court finds you wrongfully withheld any amount, you can owe the tenant up to 3 times what you kept, plus $100, plus their attorney's fees. There's no statutory cap on how much you can collect as a deposit in Texas, but whatever you take, hold it separately. Don't mix it with your personal funds, which leads us to the next mistake. Your rental property is a business. Treat it like one from day one. Open a dedicated bank account for rental income and expenses. Track every dollar, rent payments, maintenance cost, insurance premiums, property taxes, all of it. This matters at tax time, and your CPA will thank you. Rental income is reportable, and you can deduct a lot. Repairs, insurance, property management fees, mortgage interest, depreciation, you name it. But only if you have the records to back it up. Online bank account software like Baseline makes this clean. It has sub-accounts designed specifically for rental properties and auto-categorizes your transactions for Schedule E reporting. I'm not a Baseline sponsor, but something similar will help you out just as much. There are other options too. The specific tool matters less than the habit. Separate the money from day one. Future you will be grateful. This one seems obvious. A lot of new landlords skip it anyway because the property looks fine and they just trust the tenant. Here's why that's a problem. The move-in inspection is the only documentation that proves what condition the property was in when the tenant took over. If they move out and leave damage and you want to deduct from the deposit, you need proof that damage wasn't already there. The standard is 50 or more time-stamped photos. Every room, every wall, every appliance, every surface. Walk through it with the tenant present and have them sign off on the condition and keep a copy. If you skip this and there's a dispute at move-out, you're walking into court with nothing. A judge in the justice of the peace court isn't going to take your word for it. Do the inspection, document everything. All right, let's put it all together. Here's the 30-day roadmap prioritized for you. Days 1 through 3, swap your insurance to a dwelling policy. Call your agent today. This is the most urgent item on the list. Days 1 through 7, review the lease. If there isn't one, get one drafted immediately. If there is one, have an attorney or property manager review it against current Texas law. Also in that first week, if a tenant is already in place, send written notice confirming you hold their security deposit and introducing yourself as the new property owner. Keep a copy of that notice. Days 1 through 10, do the move-in inspection if it hasn't happened, or document current property condition as a baseline for the existing tenancy. Days 7 through 14, open a dedicated bank account for this property and get a financial tracking system in place. Days 14 through 21, build your vendor list. Who's your plumber? Who's your HVAC tech? In Texas, an air condition failure when it's 100 degrees outside is a habitability emergency under the Texas Property Code. You need a vendor on call before you need them. Days 21 through 30. Make a real decision about whether you're managing this yourself or handing it off. There's no wrong answer, but make it a conscious choice, not a default. Here's the honest take. Self-managing works if you have time, you're local, you're comfortable with the legal side, and you have a solid tenant in place. One property, a good tenant, low maintenance situation that a lot of people handle just fine. Hiring a property manager makes more sense if you're out of state, you're already stretched too thin, or you're worried about getting the legal and maintenance stuff right. Property management fees in DFW typically run 10 to 12% of monthly rent. For a lot of accidental landlords, that's worth it for the peace of mind alone, and for knowing someone's picking up the phone when the water heater goes out at 11 p.m. on a Friday. We offer a free rental analysis if you're not sure where you stand. We'll look at your specific property, tell you what it should be renting for in today's North Texas market, walk you through how we'd handle it, and let you decide if it makes sense. No pressure, no obligation. The link is in the description of this video. If this was helpful, hit subscribe. We put out new content every week for North Texas property owners, covering everything from Texas landlord law to DFW market updates to how we handle the day-to-day management. And if you own a rental property in DFW and you're figuring out your next step, the free rental analysis is a good place to start. The link is in the description. We'll talk soon.